Hello everyone. Let's start the week 2 of the Modeling with Statistics. This week we're going to start talking about data management techniques, and we will use just single data set. That means one kind of the data set. We will not use the 2 or 3 or 4 parameters at the same time, which we will do in week 10 or 11. And so we will learn the basics techniques, how to arrange, how to process the data in a couple of weeks, in a couple of the coming weeks. And this week we will talk about data arrangements. Before talking about data arrangement, I'd like to share the very important slide in this class, and which we will come back to these slides many times in the coming weeks. Well, let me go through the important process when you do data analysis. First, we can start with phase 1, in which you define the objective. What do you want to know? What do you want to show? What is your problem to resolve? You have to define all those things in more detail. And then you identify the data to use. The key message in this class is do not rely on the data you already have or where you get the one you get from the internet. You have to make some arrangements, or you have to find the right data to fit your goal or to meet your goal. That is the first step, or in other words, the phase 1. Today we're going to talk about the data arrangement after you identify the right data. And the second phase is evaluation of the current status. You do not just show the result or current status, but you have to do some evaluation. This is another key phrase, the key word in this class. The key questions are, how can you show the current status, which is called also status quo? Then, how can you evaluate it? For example, even if you can show the total number of students of Y and U with a graph or chart, that's only show the result or current status. But if you evaluate the number of students of Y and U, how are you going to do it? That is the key question. Are you going to compare with the students in another university, or are you going to show the trend from the past to the current? There are many ways to do this. The key word is comparisons and evaluation. And phase 3 is cause analysis. Once you know the current status, or once you know the evaluation result, the next important step is you have to know the cause or background of the result or evaluation. Why you have such result? Why you have such evaluation output? You have to identify the causes. That is the part 3, phase 3. And finally, you have to make your own conclusion or solution. Based on the result from the 1 through 3, you have to make your own conclusion in phase 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 phases is a key points in this class. And we will just focus on the phase 1 this week. In the phase 1, as already told you, we have mainly 3 steps. The goal is identify the right data and then make a right arrangement. The first step is define your objectives. Today, we already defined in the coming slides, so no worries about this. And then, once you have the definition of your objective, what is your goal? what you like to know. Then you choose the right data or index to meet your objective. Then, this is today's topic. Think about the right arrangement to make for the data or index you choose. So again, the goal is not just how to use existing data. The goal is you have to fit your data to meet your goal or objectives. That's arrangement. And what does arrangement mean? That's we are going to see after this today. Before talking about more details about the arrangements, I'd like to share with you the two key questions for today. The question is, how are you going to arrange the data for if you have two goals, A and B, how are you going to change the shape of the data, which is arrangement? That's the question. Again, there is no right one single answer for this. The first question, if you want to understand the current English speaking level of the students at the university, let's say that's YNU, you have to show or you have to understand what is the current English speaking level of the YNU. And you identify the data to use, which is English skill test score, such as TOEIC or TOEFL. Let's assume you have the TOEIC scores or TOEFL scores already. How are you going to make arrangement of those data sets, which is a test score? Okay, I'll give you one example. Are you going to split by faculty or division, or are you going to separate male data and female data, or are you going to split by grade? That means year, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. There are many ways to show the current status of the English speaking level of the YNU. So think about it. That is the first question. And B, what if you want to report the sales performance of your new lunchbox bento box business at YNU? Let's assume you already started your bento box lunchbox business at YNU, and you have to report to your boss. What is the sales performance in the, let's say, the recent last 3 months? And you already have the data of lunchbox sales daily dollar amount or the Japanese yen amount. How are you going to show? How are you going to make arrangement of the data, the sales data? That's the second case question. Okay, how are you going to deal with these questions? Before jumping into the answer of the question, I'd like to share the fundamental elements of data arrangement. When you say data arrangements, there are 3 things to consider. The first one is category. I hope you still remember I said earlier you can split the English speaking level score by division or by gender or by grade. This is one of the categories. So first of all, what categories are you going to apply to split the total data? In some cases, that's by time, by place, or by gender, or by product. There are a bunch of the categories you can apply, but the ultimate goal is try to choose the right one. The right category is, if you apply the category to split the data, you can properly or effectively show your objective with the data. Again, there's no right answer. The second one is a level of resolution or a gradularity. This is very strange in English word, but gradularity. That means how detailed you have to split. So there are two ways to arrange in this area, aggregation and breakdown. As I told you earlier about the category, you split the data into more detail. That's breakdown. Our aggregation is the opposite direction. If you have already, detailed data sets, you can combine or you can correct. That's aggregation. You can, okay, let's say you have the data for male students, data for female students. You combine this. That's aggregation. You can take the total average of the students because you aggregated the data from male and the female. That's aggregation. So there are two ways, aggregation and breakdown. You have to control the level of the details of the data to fit your objective. Finally, that's transformation. That's the easiest one. You can change the shape of the data, like visualizing by making graph, trend graph, the bar chart, the pie chart, whatever. So you can use some graphs or charts, or you can use some index of the ratio, percentage or density, whatever. There are many index and the ratio. So sometimes you have to show, you can find the right index or right ratio to show your objective. Again, three ways to arrange your data. Think about category. What is the right category? 2, what is the right level of resolution? How much detail do you need to break down the data? And transformation, would you need to change the shape of the data, or can you simply use the raw data that you get from the internet? In many cases, the answer is no. You may need to somehow transform the shape of the data to fit your goal. Again, category, resolution, and transformation. Think about these three ways. Okay, let's talk about category and granularity with this example. Okay, let's say you have the sales result data. In Tokyo, that's a yellow box. If you aggregate the sales result data from Osaka or Sapporo, Nagoya, then you can aggregate and you can level up, aggregate the data into Japan East. Osaka is not at East, okay. You can also aggregate Japan East, Japan West, and South North. Then you can aggregate into the sales result all over Japan. If you go downward, then you can you break down the sales result data of Tokyo into time axis, by time axis, product axis, or customer axis. That's the category, time or product or customer. These are three examples of the categories. So by category, you can break down this Tokyo sales result data into more details. So let's take a time axis example. You can break down into monthly result and weekly result, daily result, hourly result. So what is the right level of a breakdown? I don't know. It depends on your objective. Choose the right level of the details to break down. If you need to consolidate or aggregate, then just do it. It depends on your goal. Okay, let's go back to today's question. The first question was, how are you going to arrange the data for understanding the current English speaking level of the students at YNU? And the data you identify is English skill test score. Okay, I said the right answer depends on your goal. Okay, let's take a case one. What if your objective is to know the overall level of your university? Okay, once you get a job, your boss will ask you, what is the average level? Not average, what is the level of the English speaking skill at YNU? What would you show? What would you say about this with data? There are many ways to show the overall level of the speaking level of YNU. What ratio, what index are you going to use? And what category are you going to use to break down? Or you do not break down at all. You can just simply take an average of all the students of YNU. That is an answer. That is not wrong, but is it enough? Can you deliver a sufficient information with just one single index that's average? That's not a strong message. Okay, let's think about the case two. What if your objective is to compare the level of across some university? Let's say you compare your English speaking level of YNU with Yokohama City University, Yokohama 市立大学. What index are you going to use and what categories are you going to use to break down? How are you going to compare these two universities in terms of the English speaking level? I guess you will apply the different approach or different index to use between the case 1 and 2. That is the first question to you to do. Now, I want you to think about this by taking some time. If you need to stop the video, go ahead. And I want you to think about this. Here's a summary of what I said already. Many students might ask me what is the right answer of the data arrangements. As I repeated already, it all depends on your objectives. There is no single right answer. You can have several sets of arrangements if you think it's appropriate. Don't look for the one single right answer, but they need to fit or meet your objective at least. Even if it is not the best one, who knows the best one? So no worries about the accuracy. I want you to make your own story. For example, I want to show this because I have this objective. And I think this form of the data, of these details of the data, would be the best one to describe my message. That is something I want you to make in this class. So again, today's focus is just how you change how the form of the data, or how you break down or aggregate the data to meet your objective. And this is the last slide of this video. We have the second question. How are you going to arrange the data for reporting the sales performance of your new lunchbox business at your university? And you already have the lunchbox sales daily amount in your hands. Again, let's take it simple. Again, I am a boss, and then you are a freshman of my company, and then we started a bento lunchbox business at YNU, and you are a sales manager of the business, and then I want you to show me briefly what is the sales performance? What was the sales performance in the last 3 months with data? And which form of data and which category are you going to show to me to summarize the sales performance of the bento box university? And I have just 1 or 2 minutes to listen to your report. So how are you going to summarize? What is your summary? Well, you don't have to have only one single answer. You can prepare 2 or 3 answers. That's totally fine. But let's think about this. You do not have to do any actual analysis at this moment. Just think about this. How many ways you can describe your output? That is a simple answer. Okay, so this is not only about this week. From this week on, the first thing you have to think about, you have the clear objective and you have identified the right data. Then think about how you change the shape or form of the data to meet your objectives. Don't rely on the existing data in your hands or from the internet. In many cases, you have to arrange the data to meet your objectives. That is this week's key message. Okay, thank you.